Hello and welcome to Verbling. I'm teacher Oakley, and in this class here on Verbling, we are going to continue our mini series at this time slot this week, looking at the IELTS speaking exam. Today, our focus will be on part 2 of the exam, and this part of the exam is also called the long turn. Basically, the emphasis is on description. Now, I need to explain. Excuse me. I need to explain what happens in this part of the exam. In this section of the exam, the interviewer or interlocutor is going to hand you paper and a pencil, and as well a question card or question on a worksheet, some copy of the actual question. That question will consist of basic description questions with some bullet points, more or less an outline of other questions that you should answer as you're answering the question, the overall question. The interlocutor will inform you that you have 1 minute of time to prepare for the question. You can make notes. Again, you're going to make notes, pencil and paper. You can do whatever you want with your notes. You can draw pretty pictures of flowers if you want to, or you can make notes in your own native language. I would probably recommend that you make notes in English. Okay, you're given 1 minute to prepare, and then the interviewer will tell you you should speak for 1 to 2 minutes. This is a monologue. He or she, the interviewer, is actually not allowed to interfere whatsoever. You're on your own for this section of the IELTS exam. He will inform you you should speak for 1 to 2 minutes, but the unspoken reality is you need to speak for 2 minutes or you will lose points in scoring. So go until he or she advises you, okay, thank you, that's enough, thank you very much. As a way of kind of bridging into part 3, you will be asked a follow-up question based on information you have provided. Don't worry about that follow-up question too much. It's usually quite basic and quite simple. You don't really need even a long answer for it. It's more or less a bridging question. Nothing to be concerned about. Now, when it comes to making your notes, I would like to recommend something. It's just advice. Take it or leave it. But when you receive the information of the actual question, by the way, you can look at your notes and the actual question the interviewer has provided as you speak for 2 minutes. I might recommend that you first note the verb tense of the question, and not only the basic question, which comes first, but also the bullet points. Do the verb tenses change in the bullet points? Like, quite often the question is past tense. Well, then does the bullet point include past perfect or present perfect or past continuous? Jot that down. Past, perf, continuous, right? You only have limited time, so abbreviations that you're familiar with would be advisable as well. Second, in regards to your note-taking, two things which are really most important. There's always like a keyword that you're looking at. Maybe brainstorm synonyms or synonymous phrases for that keyword. So you're not repeating the same word over and over again, because again, you need to speak for 2 minutes without stopping. Another thing, a little piece of advice, as you're brainstorming, very often there's a key adjective in the question. You can use that adjective or a synonym, better, a synonym for that adjective in your answer, but don't focus on that adjective. Focus on the meat of the question, which the nouns and verbs, subject, noun, and verb. You really should be focused on that. Now, before we get started practicing, one last point I would like to make is I mentioned that the interlocutor or interviewer is not allowed to interfere at all or prompt you, or he's really not allowed to speak, he or she, period. However, to be perfectly honest, interviewers being human, they will give you subtle, non-spoken clues. Like, keep going, keep going. They may even give you a little hand gesture. Come on, I need some more, I need some more. They may give you subtle clues as to how you're doing. So they smile. You're doing good, keep it up. All right. Be aware of those. They're going to help you out. They're not allowed to, they're not supposed to, but they're human beings and they will react. Usually. One or two stories about specific interlocutors who really actually sit there like a stone, like a robot, and don't even twitch. That's what they're supposed to do. Most of them will react and provide you with subtle clues as to how you're doing. Okay, hello, Mustafa, how are you?
Hello teacher, how are you? Good morning.
I'm good. Hey, where did Lena go? Come back. What happened to her?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on back, Lena. Don't know where she
She
went.
dis she dis she disappeared.
Okay. All right. Oh, here she comes. Here she comes again. Stepped out for a cup of tea. Hello, Lena.
Hello. How are you?
Hello. I'm okay.
Okay.
Can you say something again, Lena, please? Say hello again.
Hello. Hello.
Okay.
Fine.
It's
Fine.
it's fine. It's clear, but the volume is pretty low. Very clear, but very low volume. I don't know. Again, if you can adjust that or whatever.
Maybe bad connection.
It doesn't sound like connection because it's very, very clear. But I don't know. Possibly. Okay. Give me a second here. I'm gonna put the you guys at home, Mustafa, Lena, anybody else joining the class, go ahead and grab paper and pencil so you can practice making notes. I'm going to put the question up on the screen, so that's what you can see, because you're able to see that question as you answer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll practice. Okay, I'm just setting up my timer here as well. I'm going to also time you, and then I'll give you feedback. Okay, here. All right, I'm going to throw a question up. Mustafa, you were first in the class, so I'm going to give you first go. All right, here you go. I'm going to give you a minute to make notes, but so we don't have to sit here in silence for a minute, I'm going to make some additional points. So, Mustafa, you concentrate on this here. Sometimes, I'm not sure, I think maybe this has changed. They used to read you the card and then hand it to you, but now I think they just hand you the card. So here it is. Describe a memorable journey you've made. You should see where you were going, how you were traveling, why you were making the journey, explain what made the journey so memorable. Mustafa, you should most certainly note the verb tenses here. You have made. Ooh, present perfect. You were going. Past continuous. We're traveling. Past continuous. We're making. Past continuous. What made? Past simple. There's a reason for that. They're giving you a clue. Use the clues that they give you. They're looking for you to use a variety of past tense possibilities here, quite clearly. So keep that in mind. Another point I need to make while Mustafa's making notes and thinking, hopefully I'm not distracting him too much, very often, not every time, but very frequently, I have noticed that the last bullet point or the last piece of information they want you to talk about is often extremely important. I think it's an IELTS trick in that, you know, they make it last so you may skip it. Frequently, it talks about something much more abstract. Okay, for example, here, the journey was memorable. Frequently, we'll ask, will you recommend something? Or how did you feel about something? This is very normal. The idea being that this gives you the opportunity to speak abstractly or with abstract vocabulary. So you really don't want to get caught up in everything and miss the last piece, the last and whatever. Another quick thing that I should mention, they frequently do this as well. Where and when did you do something? So some of these bullet points are actually two-part bullet points. Where and when did you do something? Okay, Mustafa, I've given you extra time with my chatter, and I'm going to give you a little bit of extra time as well because I want to welcome a couple new students. Araceli, hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Yes.
Have you done your CAE test already, or?
No, I'm taking it in like 5 hours
5 hours.
later. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, good luck. Okay. All right,
Thank
great. Come back to you in a bit. And hello to Yet.
Hello, teacher.
Oh, there we go. All right, great. You're connected. You can talk now. Super. That's
Yes.
great. Great. Am I saying your name correctly? Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Is it Tuyet?
My name Mai. Hello.
Mai?
Mai, yes.
Okay.
M-A-I.
Mai.
Yes, I'm from Vietnam.
Okay.
Yes.
Nothing at all like Tuyet. Okay. Mai.
Yes.
Okay, Mai.
Yes.
Great.
I am study English beginner. So you talk I don't understand.
Okay. Well, do your best. Do your best.
Yes.
We're in an IELTS preparation class. So
Yes, I see. But I observe this class.
Okay.
Yes.
So quite a bit higher level. So just try to get as much as you can. I'm sure you won't catch everything, but okay. All right. Finally, Mustafa. Dun, da, da, da. Mustafa, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm here. Teacher, just 10 seconds, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
No problem. Gave him like 3 minutes preparation time. It wasn't enough. Okay. No problem.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Okay, and
So I
one.
have, okay, I have to describe memorable journey, right?
Righto. When you're ready, please begin.
Yeah, I have made a memorable journey before. Um, I was going to University of Oklahoma in USA, United States, uh, in summer English language study, and actually I were traveling by plane. It was the first time going there, and I were making it as a part of program. Actually, some organization came to our university and picked up some students, and we succeed in passing some tests and exam. So we qualified to go there to see uh, as a part of program linkage program between Iraqi and American university to communicate actually and see other countries. Um, what made this journey so memorable? Seeing a lot of international students there, and also explore United States for the first time, and trying to communicate with people and see other culture habits, and also the material they are studying and everything there. So keep you directly in touch with them.
Are
Thank
you
you.
done? That's it. Okay. You had about 15 seconds left. Okay.
Mm.
Just so you know, uh, basically, roughly speaking, about every 15 seconds that you're under, you're probably going to drop a half a band score. Unfortunately. Okay. Let me talk to you about some basic things. Okay, let's begin at the beginning. Pronunciation, memorable. First syllable, stress. Memorable. Memorable.
Memorable. Memorable.
Okay. Very good. I'm going to put this in the Verbling chat box. I'm going to write this out for you. Uh, Pretty much foolproof way of beginning part two questions. Part two questions are description. You could be describing an experience, like this example, perhaps a person, perhaps a place, perhaps even an actual physical object. I have a almost foolproof sentence to begin with. You can talk in the first person. So, I would like to tell you about blah 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 blah. In this case, um, you could continue by saying, for example, I would like to tell you about the most fantastic trip I have ever been on. Now, okay, I was mentioning about when you make notes, consider the verb tense, maybe even write it down on your paper. Also, consider synonyms for keywords. Keyword here is obviously journey. Another thing that you should consider while you're writing notes is your first sentence. Make sure you're ready to go. When the interviewer says, please begin, do not leave a 10-second gap before you begin. You're going to lose points if you do that. Have your first sentence ready. This goes for any test, TOEFL, where you're allowed preparation time for each question. Same thing. Know your first sentence, or at least the first clause of your first sentence, so you can have a good start. Having a good start is really, really helpful. It builds your momentum and it builds your confidence as you speak. Now, the first part of this example I've given you, I would like to tell you about is pretty foolproof. An object, the first toy I had, a place, a vacation I had in Paris, a person. I would like to tell you about my grandfather. Doesn't matter what it is. This is great because you're using a modal. I would like, okay. Great. You're using an infinitive to tell. Great. Then, if you have the chance, if it's possible, you might want to consider throwing in a superlative adjective structure. The most fantastic. Great. These are all bonus points. You're checking off boxes, or rather the interviewer is checking off boxes of things that you can do. And then the most fantastic trip I have ever been on. Okay, really, that I have ever been on. Here, I didn't put that. Wow. You know why? That's a relative clause, and many times native speakers don't use that in a relative clause, which ends a sentence. That's called ellipsis. Big points. Big points. I have ever been on. Terrific. Present perfect structure with an adverb ever. My goodness, this sentence would cause the interviewer to have a heart attack. There's about 8 boxes he can check.
What? Okay, interesting.
This is a fantastic sentence, and you can plan it.
Yeah.
You can pretty much predict you're going to say this before you even go into the test.
Yeah.
All right? A little cheater for you. All right?
Yeah. All right.
Basically, this is a little cheat. You may not be able to do the second part always, but the first part, for sure. You can basically do it with any part 2 topic. Okay. All right. Enough about that. All right. Mustafa, you were trying to use that continuous tense, but unfortunately, you weren't conjugating the verbs correctly. I were traveling. I were making. It would have to be I was traveling. I was making. Right? So be careful about subject-verb agreement.
Okay.
It's one thing to have the verb tense, but you also have to show that you can use this singular and plural subject-verb agreement properly. It's equally important. Otherwise, you're not doing it correctly. Although, again, if you remember what I've said the last 2 days in these classes, at least you tried it by trying to do these more complex things. Even if you're not getting it right, you're definitely raising your score. Your delivery, Mustafa, a little too much. No problems with pauses. I think there was one quick self-correction. That's not a big deal. No repetition. That's good. Your delivery was good. However, you used filler a couple times to start a new sentence. Strangely, Mustafa, you don't really use filler in the middle of your sentences, which is a little bit unusual. But you use filler at the beginnings of your sentences. This is something, Mustafa, you should be able to eliminate, really. It's better to have a short pause. Instead of saying also, it's better to just and also. Or, you can, instead of saying you use phrases. Another thing I want to tell you is that another important aspect of my trip was that another exciting part of the trip, use phrases like that instead of to start. You're using like as a signal phrase, kind of. All right, and one other thing with your pacing, this is important, Mustafa.
Yes.
and everyone else. When you're taking these tests, anybody, I don't care, as long as you're human, you're not the Terminator or a robot, you're going to be a little bit nervous. Naturally, you're going to have a little bit of an extra adrenaline in your system, which causes all of us to speak a little faster. And when you have a lot of adrenaline, time basically slows down. So you don't realize you're speaking faster. So you should consciously attempt to speak just a little bit slower. And Mustafa, when you know a collocation, you tend to say it very fast. International students. In reality, for example, I heard international students. It was so fast, I could barely understand it. If first of all, number one, if you slow down a little and use a slightly slower pace, most people think a faster pace eliminates accent problems or slight mispronunciation. Actually, it's quite the opposite. Speeding up your pace makes them much worse. Slowing down your pace, however, actually eliminates or helps mask them. Most people have that completely backwards. Actually, in TOEFL, this is difficult, for example, because everything's timed. In IELTS, don't worry, they're going to let you complete sentences, and there's no particular clock, so you can slow down your pace a little. And also, Mustafa, collocations like international students, in reality, those are two content words. Native speakers would not speed up. We would actually slow down. And there were a number of international students. We would take our time and say content words that are grouped together. A big black hairy dog, we don't say a big black hairy dog just because we know all the words. We don't do that. That's adjective, 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 noun. All content words in a row. As a matter of fact, we slow down pace when that happens. A big black hairy dog jumped out of the bushes. Now, out of the bushes, that's fast. Out of the. Function, function, function words all in a row. We speed up when we have all function words consecutively. We slow down the pace when we have all content words or nouns and adjectives is the usual. All right. There you go. That's my feedback for you.
Thank you.
Mustafa, you're welcome. Okay. Lena, are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. I don't know how long it's been. I don't know how long it's been since you went to school, but
The topic about traveling is more interesting.
yeah. Unfortunately, in the IELTS or CAE or TOEFL, you have no choice of what topic you're going to get.
Yes.
Zero. You're not allowed to choose your topic. You are, however, allowed to choose the controlling idea. I'm going to give you a minute to prepare, and then you should try to speak for 2 minutes. So I'm going to give you a minute starting now to get ready. In the meantime, hopefully mute me or something because I'm going to continue talking to the rest of the class. All right. Again, very typically noting the verb tenses: went, studied, spent, liked and disliked. Actually, she doesn't like this question because she doesn't like the topic. But the fact is, this is an easier question than Mustafa's question. Mustafa's question asked him to speak in at least 3 different verb tenses for the past and talk about abstract language, about memories and memorable. Actually, his question was much more difficult, although this is what...
But you know what, teacher, like, because maybe it's the first time for me this test, I don't know exactly the rules. Maybe if I follow your rules or your instructions, maybe I'll do better next time.
Yeah. I know that. No, I'm not commenting about how good a job you did or didn't. I'm saying your question was actually quite challenging because they wanted so many different elements of English in it. It's actually a
Yeah,
tough question. It
yes,
seems like an easy topic, but it's a tough question in reality. There's a lot of things they want you to hit. Okay. Okay, Lena, you about ready? Lena's hiding now.
Okay,
Uh,
I try. I'm
Oh,
trying.
all right. Okay. When
Okay.
you're ready, please begin.
Um, I went to school when I was 7 years old. And I think it's very nice age for beginning studying because I remembered all my school days, maybe more of them. Uh, the school number was one. It was the first school in our town. It was built. It was built as a first in our town. So there were a lot of different events in this school. I like to visit all of them. I have a lot of lessons. I had a lot of lessons. I had a lot of hobbies in this place. I had been studying in my school for 10 years before I graduated it and came to the institute. All my school life was in this place. Um, it was amazing time because I had a lot of friends in this establishment. Some friends I have now from my school life. Mm, uh, I have a lot of different good holidays in this school. For example, I took part in preparation for Happy New Year. It was very nice and funny time because we created uh, some different interesting uh, events in our school.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you very much. And that is 2 minutes. And then the interviewer would stop you. Uh, okay. All right. Let me I'm gonna pull this down so I can talk to you person to person when I look you in the eye. Okay. First of all, hi Ken. Welcome.
Yes,
I
hello.
got it. Hello.
Thank you.
Okay. Ken, if you can get to you in a minute, let me talk to Lena. Lena? Okay. Now, uh, all right. You kept speaking, pretty good rhythm. Your delivery was okay. It's all right. Uh, when you get confused there, one little piece you got confused, just push through, keep going, don't worry about it. What's in the past is in the past. Very true in the listening and the speaking test. Once it's over, it's over. Don't keep thinking about it because you drive yourself crazy and then you'll make mistakes going forward. You got to just let it go. If you make an error or you know you made an error, ignore it. Maybe the interviewer will miss it, or maybe you're luck out and it's correct anyway. Okay, your pacing was pretty good. Frankly, your pronunciation is good, your pacing's good, your delivery's good. You are telling a story, which is you're doing usually in part two, and it was very clear the order of your story. and that's good. That's cohesion. That's how the story sticks together. But there's quite a few. There's some vocabulary and grammar problems I would like to talk to you about.
Okay.
Some I have to read my notes, and some of them I don't know. Maybe more than I don't even know what I was talking about. Okay. All right. So you did not use my beginning. I would like to tell you about blah blah blah. But okay, your start was not bad by any stretch. The first couple sentences were okay. All right, Lena. The school number was 1. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you mean I don't know how to interpret that in English. The grade was the school grade was the first grade, as in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. Each year you move from grade 1 to grade 2 to grade 3 to grade 4. Do you mean that first grade, or do you mean it was?
My school was built
Okay.
in my town.
All right, first. So you should say first, not 1.
And the number of school is 1. We have numbers of school.
Oh, it's actually called number 1 school?
Yes, it's called number 1.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So how I would say that to make it clear, it was the first school in my town, and the school is actually called school number 1.
Oh.
Is how I would say that.
It's more clear, yes.
Yeah. Okay. It was built, not builded. Build, built, built. Built is in a regular verb. I had a lot of lessons. I don't even understand my notes. Okay, that's no problem. Pronunciation, graduated. Okay, a little off on the pronunciation, graduated. Missed an article. It was amazing time. It was an amazing time. Should be. All right. Sometimes vocabulary is not what you say and make a mistake, or not that you repeat. It's sometimes the vocabulary problems are in fact that you miss a word that would be very useful that everyone would use. For example, you said, and I have friends now. It would be very helpful if you said, I still have friends now from back then. Still, meaning continuously through time, to this time. Okay. Please remember, funny means ha 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 ha, or funny. Something smells funny. What is that smell? Or he's a funny comedian. So school was very funny. I think you meant school was very fun. Fun as in entertaining and not boring. Fun. And last, such as, okay, good that you're giving examples. I did many things there. Events. I was actually worried that you were going to leave that. You kind of came back to it and said, like, I prepared for Happy New Year. Just so you know, you prepare for a New Year's party. You prepare for a birthday party. This is a very common mistake for second language users. I went to a happy birthday party. It sounds very, very funny for English speakers. It will make us smile. It's, you know, just please take this the right way. It sounds very cute because, you know, that's like what my 3-year-old daughter would say. I want to go to a happy birthday party. It's very, very cute. It's very, kids do that. But you should not. I went to a birthday party. I helped prepare for a New Year's Eve party, not a Happy New Year's party. or a happy birthday party. Okay. That's it. Okay, so all these are like little dings, little grammar mistakes, little vocabulary mistakes, but really the pacing and organization was good. This is not a bad answer, Lena. This is at least a 6. This is, frankly, it's a very averagey kind of answer. There were not really any idiomatic or exciting language to lift that vocabulary score. The grammar was such that you did use simple and different sentences, and there was a couple verb tenses. I heard simple past mostly. I believe I heard a present perfect structure. All right. Nothing spectacular, but nothing really bad either. Just little problems strewn out. And then there was nothing that I did not understand what you were saying. It's a very, very solid 6. Okay?
Thank you. I begin to prepare for IELTS, so it starts
Okay.
of my studying.
Well, okay, don't get too excited about a 6, all right? Because the fact is, in IELTS, it's like a bell curve, where 6 is in the middle. A lot of people get a 6, and then as you slide off toward the edges, 5.5, 6, and 6.5, a huge amount of the test takers, 70%, get one of those 3 grades. All right, and then as you slide off towards the edges, 5, 7, 4, 8, much less people. Until you get to like level 3 and level 9, it's only like, I don't know, 0.02% of the people that take the test. It's very, very tiny. So that's like a bell. It's very solidly in the middle. All right. So.
Thank you, Oakley, for good words.
All right. I'm trying to not say good words. I'm telling you, very average. But okay. All right. If it's encouraging, that's good. I hope it is encouraging. But that's very good. Actually, that is very good. It's a good place to start. Most people don't start on a 6. They start with a 4.5 or a 5. So actually, you should be encouraged, really. Okay. Araceli.
Yes.
Guess what? Your turn. Oh, I'm going to give Araceli a hard one. You thought yours was hard. No. Kind of. This is hard, but it's easy, but it's hard. Okay, it seems hard. Here it is. Describe an exciting experience in your life. It seems hard. Oh my God, what should I say? It seems like a very vague question. Oh, what is this topic? What can I talk about? My life is boring. What am I going to say? But the fact is, remember, don't panic. Keep in mind that in IELTS, nobody cares what you talk about. An exciting experience in your life may be the day that you found Gone with the Wind at the bookstore. Woo! Who cares? Things that would bore other people to tears. The day your grandmother taught you how to knit a sweater. Woo! Doesn't matter. Keep that in mind. Do not focus on this. This is actually very important. Do not focus on this adjective. That's what people do when they go, oh no, what am I going to say that's exciting? How can I speak about something exciting? Nothing exciting happens to me. When you consider the question, the first 2 seconds of brainstorming, omit that. Forget about that. An experience. That's it. And of course, you've had 8 billion experiences. But you can talk about, in other words, you can basically talk about anything at all. And don't worry about if it's really exciting or not. That's my point. Doesn't make any difference. If you want to, after your initial brainstorm, talk about something you know well and can describe thoroughly. Then, when you're thinking about your first sentence, you can think about exciting. All right, what's a synonym for exciting I can use in my opening sentence? That's the time to start thinking about that adjective. Not when you're trying to think of your topic. Just Forget about that crazy adjective. The adjectives, they use adjectives which are opinion adjectives is what they do. That's IELTS' little trick. So they're thinking that you have to follow their opinion, but you should realize you have your own opinion of the most beautiful, most exciting, most dangerous. These are opinions. You know, you might have a question about dangerous. You might think jumping out of planes or falling off a cliff or racing cars. But for you, a dangerous thing to do may be shopping for underwear. Who knows? They're opinion things. All right. I've blathered on. I've probably distracted Araceli completely from getting prepared.
Hello, I was writing notes.
Good.
I have learned preparing for exams that when you have like extra time, for example, the
Take it.
examiner is speaking, I just try to organize my mind or like that. And
Very
the
good.
listening part is the same thing because it says you are going to listen to 3 extracts, and in the meantime, I'm reading the questions and because I know they are saying the
Yeah.
same thing over and over, so I take advantage of that time.
And that is excellent advice for everyone. Do not let distractors, if you are well versed in the test and familiar with it, you don't need to listen to the instructions carefully. Use that time to prepare yourself. You're absolutely correct. It's very good advice, actually. Okay, so are you ready?
More or less.
More or less. Well, this is good enough for me. Okay. All right. Great. Please begin when you're ready.
Well, it's very difficult to answer this question, but I'm going to choose an experience that for me was really exciting. I remember it. It was like 9 years ago, and it was the time I passed my state exam. I was preparing to become a teacher, and the exam was really hard. At that time, my daughter was just 1 year old. She was a baby. So I found really difficult to find time to study and solve math problems, which were really difficult to prepare for the exam. My mother also came to Madrid and helped me a lot in that time. But the exam was at a high school in the north of Madrid. I was feeling very confused because it was the first time I took that kind of exam, and I thought I was not going to do it really well because there were many people and they were really prepared, or that was what I thought about them. But then in the end, I got the position. There were only 10 of us who passed that part, and but I really didn't discover that. I didn't find out that until 1 month later. I was on holiday in Valencia with my family, and that day the lists were going out in the internet, and I had to discover if I had passed. And my aunt called me on the phone while we were driving on our car, and she told me, "You have passed." So I was really glad about that. But then when I went home, I found out that the lists were not on the internet, and I thought, oh, she was joking. But that was not true. They appear again. There had been some mistakes, but the lists appeared again, and I was in them. So I remember I was dancing with my little daughter, and I felt so glad because I had got my dream. That was the kind of job I wanted to do. I wanted to become a teacher, and it also granted me the opportunity to have time with my family and to do something I was willing to do, something very different. So
Okay.
I remember that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. I just felt like you could go on forever. All right. Yeah, that was 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 10 seconds or so. Oh, pardon me. Okay. First and foremost, Araceli, take a breath.
Yeah.
It needs to be apparent where your periods and commas are. Okay? You that was like one long 2-minute sentence. You need to create breaks. Okay, I know that I said pauses are not good, but I'm talking about long pauses or, 3-4 second pauses. Heaven knows 8 or 10 second pauses are terrible. But at least those little pauses that we put whenever there's a comma, or we're going to add information, or at the end of a sentence before we start the next sentence. So, between clauses, take a breath. So your pacing was quite fast to the point where you missed pauses between sentences. Don't do that.
Yes, I think this because I'm nervous already.
Yeah.
So
You're
yeah.
already full of adrenaline for your exam 4 hours
I
from
try
now.
to slow down, yes.
Yes, try to slow down. Take a Valium or something. I don't know. Have a beer, something. Have a glass
Wow.
of wine.
I
Something.
try.
Calm down. All right. Okay, I found it really difficult. Oh, nothing wrong with that. I don't know why I wrote it down, other than you used the phrase really difficult like twice in a row. But not a big deal. Okay, in that moment should be at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Or at that moment, at that time. To refer to a specific time in the past, we use at that time or at that moment, not in. We use in for a longer period of time, in the 1970s, in 1973, like that. So in is for a long period of time, at an exact time, at. Okay. Was what? Oh, you got a little mangled up there. Was what I thought of them. You got it out. I understood every word you said. Is that what you said?
Yes, but I was
Anyway,
confused
yeah,
making the sentence, so but
that was what I thought of them.
yeah,
It came,
that was.
okay, it came out. I got it. I wrote it down correctly. List were going out. The list was going out. Singular. Subject verb. And you were on vacation when the lists were coming out. Should be was coming
Yeah,
out.
I said the lists, but maybe I mispronounced.
Lists.
Yeah,
Okay.
there were lists of people. Yeah,
Okay.
because maybe I am talking too quickly. That's why
Yeah.
maybe
Well,
my pronunciation is not accurate.
that's the main problem. Yeah, you're talking too quickly. It's clear, okay, tell everybody to slow down and slow down the pace to eliminate problems and fluency problems. You're pretty fluent, so that's not really the problem, but the problem was separation of ideas. The cohesion was thrown off, not the fluency. See, even somebody like Araceli, who's very fluent, who doesn't have any real problems with accent or pronunciation, you speak too fast and now you're not messing with your fluency, you're messing with your cohesion. I can't tell where one idea ends and the next begins. So equally, it's going to wreak havoc on your score. Doesn't matter how good your pronunciation is, actually, if your pacing is too fast. Okay. On them, what? Oh, and your name was in them. It should be on them. Your name was on a list. My name is on a list. Okay. And then it was past time, so it would not have mattered, but after I stopped you, I stopped you in the middle of speaking, you said that you were willing. I was excited because I was very willing for that job. Willing just means you will do it, whether you want to or not. It's really a neutral term. I'm willing to go to the hospital and talk to your grandmother. I don't want to, but I'm willing. It's not really a super positive thing. It's just neutral. Okay.
So I should have said I was feeling excited or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I was looking forward to it, something like that. Yeah. Okay. All right, we're going to have to do a fast one for Ken. Ken, are you up for this? Ken, are you there?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Ken, we've only got like 5 minutes left, so
Mhm.
I'll give you a little time to think about your question here. Describe a newspaper or magazine you enjoy reading. While you're preparing, making notes, or thinking about it, please remember that you may have a question like this when, in fact, you do not read a newspaper or magazine. I don't know if that's the case for Ken or not, but this definitely could happen to you when you're taking the exam, in which case you're now, it's going to be very difficult for you to spend 2 minutes talking about the fact that you don't read a newspaper or magazine.
Mhm.
Very difficult. I would highly suggest you lie. Think about a newspaper or magazine you read when you were younger, or think about one your friend reads, or just think about one that you know of. Whatever's easiest to talk about. Okay, Ken. I don't know if I've given you a fair amount of time. Probably not, but
2 minutes?
try to speak for 2 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Go ahead.
Uh, Talking about my favorite magazines. In the past, I often read Newsweek magazine and Time magazine for update current news and information, and especially Time magazine. Only English version is available here, so I have no choice to read it in English. So if I found Time magazine in a very interesting article, I had to translate it. So it's also useful, helpful for my English learning too. And but nowadays I often read magazines and articles and newspapers online because it's more convenient. But still, I like reading Time magazine and Newsweek magazine. And Newsweek magazine is Japanese version is available, so I often read that Japanese Newsweek magazine. And sometimes I compare the Japanese version and the English version of Newsweek magazine because content are a bit different. So I like compare such kind of both language versions of Time and no, sorry, Newsweek magazine and Time magazine. These are my preference of news and magazine. But I'm reading, and I was reading. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, very good. You have about 20 seconds left. All right. I could tell you were trying to stretch it. It was quite obvious. Stretch. How can I stretch this? Stretch it out a little more with a conclusion. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. You probably would have lost some kind of scoring there, maybe a half a band score for a short answer. But on the other hand, really, honestly, Ken's pacing and delivery is very good. He's very smooth and it's very easy to understand. He uses intonation effectively. It's very easy to figure out which words he's highlighting, which words are important. He uses a higher pitch when he wants to highlight those words, and he uses a slight pause after he says them. This is very helpful in understanding what he's saying, what's important to him. Ladies, you might take note of this. It's not about going fast or going perfectly smoothly. English does hitch from time to time, and when we want to highlight a word, we'll say it louder with a higher pitch, and we'll have a little pause behind it. This actually helps the listener to understand what's going on. And more not just the information, but how the speaker feels about it. When Ken talks, I understand how Ken thinks, in other words, and that's good. This translates into IELTS as well. It's scoring. Now, one thing, Ken used the word Newsweek about 1 million times. However, this is a title, okay? It cannot be avoided. The question is about a specific magazine. You should avoid using the same vocabulary over and over, but it's the name of something. It can't be helped. If you're describing a famous person, you're probably going to use their name several times. Ken, you might have used other pronouns, however. It, this periodical, things like that. You could have used pronouns to get around that a little bit. That would have been better. Okay, you read in your introduction, you read magazines for an update current events. I don't know if you said a update or to update. It should be an update of current events or to update current events. One or the other. I'm not sure. I think they were kind of mixed up. But quite honestly, that was actually pretty good. That was really good. That was probably, he probably had a 7.5, but he knocked it down to a 7 by giving it a short answer. That was actually good. Smooth. Araceli gave twice as much information in hers, but I think actually Ken's was slightly better, even though he had half as much information because it was much clearer and presented in a very smooth manner. Okay, guys, we are overtime, out of time and overtime, and I'm late for my next class. So bye-bye. Thank you very much. Tomorrow we'll look at